Hello everyone, my name is Jacinta Adhiambo and this is Street Trend on TV show, and today we are here at Kitale District Hospital interacting with a nutritionist and also a nurse. Both they are going to talk about cancer. So till the end of the show, don't touch the dial. First of all, we start with an introduction, and I think I'll start from my left.
Hello, my name is Evelyn Sikuku. I'm a nutritionist at Kitale County Hospital. Welcome for this session.
My name is Esther Jaranga. I'm a palliative care nurse working at Kitale County Hospital. Welcome.
And I'll start with you, nurse. What is cancer? First of all, let us understand the know-how about cancer.
Yeah. Cancer really is just abnormal multiplication of the body cells that divide and infect the surrounding cells. Yeah.
Okay, that is the basic definition, the most simplest definition of cancer.
That is the simplest. Because a body cell is just a tiny, something you cannot see with the eye.
Okay.
But once one of them becomes starts multiplying in an abnormal way, then it affects the surrounding cells. So they start multiplying in an abnormal way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll go with you still. Maybe you tell us type of cancer. We have cancer, it's very large. It goes several types. Maybe you tell us what are these types of cancer.
Okay. Yeah, cancer, there are around many types.
Okay.
At the same time, there's cancer that is moves, yani after it has developed in one place, it can move to other parts of the body very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah.
How fast is that?
As it affects their surrounding cells, they multiply at a very high rate, abnormally. Yet there are some that move slowly from the origin site.
Okay.
Then there are many types of cancers, over 100 types.
If you tell us the basics one, the most
common ones.
The most common ones.
The most common ones, we have got breast cancer.
Okay.
We have got cancer of the cervix, cervical cancer. Esophageal cancer, that is cancer of the throat.
Okay.
In a simple language. We have got cancer of the stomach. We have got Kaposi's sarcoma, that is the cancer of the skin.
Okay.
Then we have got cancers that are inside the abdomen, which affect many parts. For example, the duodenum, the GIT, that is the rectal. We have got others that affect the spleen, the liver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So generally, the GIT, the gastrointestinal tract cancers, starting from the tongue to the anal area.
Can you tell us now what are these causes? For example, the breast cancer. What are the causes of this breast cancer?
Yeah, if we narrow to breast cancer, the real cause of cancer is not known.
Okay. But
there are other risk factors or predisposing factors that can be associated to the cause of cancer. And if we group them, there are just around 4 causes, of which they can be subdivided. The first one is infections.
Infections.
Which is very wide. The other one is radiation. The other one is things like inheritance.
Inheritance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and talking about
when we go to the breast cancer, obesity would be one of the factors. The lifestyle on how somebody lives, it plays a role in that.
Okay, a lifestyle, the way you eat.
The way you eat.
Okay.
Because also the fourth one is chemicals, because it lies in the lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe talking about your lifestyle, how you eat, how does the food of a cancer patient look like? How does the diet look like? Maybe you can tell us.
Yes, not just a cancer patient, but here we want to be specific.
Yeah.
Every one of us should eat, we say we eat colors. Eating colors means variety, as in if I'm a farmer and I cultivate particular crops, I shouldn't just be eating that. What else is on the market? Among the vegetables, I should eat colors, the dark green, the red ones, the yellow ones. When I get to the fruits, I should eat a wide variety. When you go to cereals, wide variety. Every class of food, there should be variety.
Varieties.
Because the nutrients in each of these foods vary, and some have very important components that fight against infections, including even cancer. So if you just stick on one particular type of food, you're missing out. So let us eat colors, meaning variety
of
from
food.
every food group.
Oh.
So to even our cancer patient and whoever patient it is, and even a healthy person, let us eat colors.
Colors. Oh, you talked of infections. What
Yeah.
are these infections?
Maybe I can narrow down like cervical cancer.
Okay.
In cervical cancers, infections like sexually transmitted infections.
Okay.
Of course, the cervical cancer, we have got the human papilloma virus, which is a common one. It is a normal flora on the skin. But once it is deposited at the cervix, it becomes it turns the cervix and becomes cancerous.
Okay.
And mostly you find that it is sexually transmitted.
So cervical cancer is sexually transmitted.
Of course, because for men, they don't have a cervix.
Okay, so
And
they don't, men don't get cervical.
Sick.
Okay.
Yeah. And if
All
the
right.
human papilloma virus is on the skin of the penis of the man, haina harm. But
Okay.
once it is deposited in the cervix, it becomes now an
All
issue to
right.
that cervix.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And breast cancer, have you talked the cause, the main cause of breast cancer?
It is among the risk factors that I talked about. And mostly you find that lifestyle, inheritance, things like radiation, and maybe a patient has got an issue with the breast, of which she doesn't seek even medical advice on time.
Okay.
That lies in the term of the infections. Yeah.
So breast cancer, it's mainly it's genetic.
It can be genetic.
Okay.
It can be. It can come because of radiation. You see.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do we have the vaccine for cancer? That
Really, I could talk maybe narrow to cervical cancer.
for cervical cancer.
Yeah.
All
Where we
right.
have the HPV vaccine for young girls, 10 years. Yeah.
That is only for girls, no, not for boys.
No.
As she had said earlier, this cancer does not affect men.
Men.
So
Oh,
why
okay.
what do the vaccine?
Men don't have a cervix.
Okay, okay, of course.
Yeah, and also with the breast cancer is lifestyle.
It's lifestyle.
Lifestyle also matters a lot. In lifestyle, it depends on what you are feeding on.
What you eat.
High fat diet,
What you're feeding on, where you're living, hygiene, everything around you. Because you may be living in an environment with a lot of radiation. So however much you're careful, it may get you. Or you're living in a place where the food you're eating is from soils that have heavy metals. That becomes a key predisposing factor to your health. So you may be carrying it, growing in your system, until when it gets to a particular organ, then now it will be discovered that this is cancerous. or else you may just be living with it. So the environment is also important. Whatever it is we are doing to our environment is affecting us directly.
Okay.
And it goes with the chemical part of it. You find that most of the things we eat, they have to go through some processes. Of late, people, we have forgotten about our traditional foods. Whereby
We want
our grandmother would go to the garden, come with the cassava or potatoes, we boil and eat. You find that people now run for chips,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of high concentration of fat,
Okay. And it's not good for
which is
health.
not really healthy. So also the way she said, what we eat matters a lot. Our lifestyle, how you take care of your life generally. The things you apply on your body. There are so many things we apply on our bodies these days, especially for us ladies. We want to look extra beautiful.
You want to be
Want some areas to go bigger. And then what are we inducing? We are changing the way our system is running. So a response could be malignant. So the body responds to whatever we are doing to it. We are inducing so many chemicals without even finding out how this chemical works. She also talked about that issue of chips. It may not necessarily be chips. These fried things, it depends with the kind of oil you're using and how often you know, like somebody frying chips would want to use that oil like forever. And every time you're exposing it to heat, it develops free radicals, and these ones are cancerous. Because you keep reusing the same oil, the same oil, the same oil. There's a certain level that you should be testing so that you top up before you keep on frying. But on the market, right now we have fish that is just fried, we just eat on the spot or take it home. We have chips everywhere we want things fried. But how often do they put away the used oil? How often do they top up? So these are the things that are increasing cancer. Again, when it comes to agriculture, everyone, okay, as consumers, when you go to the market, we want that fruit that is looking juicy, very healthy, with nothing broken, nothing broken on the skin. So what has happened? There's a lot of chemicals that have been used to make sure there's no pest. There's a lot of fertilizer that is being used, and all this thing gets into our system without even us knowing which particular chemical was used on this crop and how safe it is. Because maybe that chemical has not been tested or researched on how it will affect us if it gets into our system. And every day we go buy those things, we stock and then eat. So we are endangering our lives. So my question would be, how many of us have a kitchen garden so that you reduce the chances of you going to buy the ones on the market that have a lot of chemicals on it? So do you have a kitchen garden? You have some fruits at home. Do you have some small animals so that you have options, so that you only go out to buy if yours has run out?
Yeah, to add on that, we have also refined food. You find that maybe during a party, we prefer taking biscuits and queen cakes plus soda, rather than taking maybe something like nduma. So the refined food and also the preserved food from the fridges, it's not also good for us because they use chemicals to preserve that. And refined food, sometimes you find like kama sweet cakes, there's a lot of sugar.
So sugar also causes cancer?
You see, sugar, when we say sugar, you see, like if you're processing in your own house, you know the sugar you've put in. This is sugar from cane. But at processing level, they use what you call artificial sweeteners, that some of them are even 1,000 times sweeter than sugar. So they just put a drop. So that's economical for the processor. But what is the effect on the consumer? Then that one has been suspected even for some of them causing cancer, being predisposing factors. When she talked about issue of processed foods. It's not necessarily from fridges, but every time as you're walking around, you go pick a snack. Do you care to know which chemical has been used to preserve? There are chemicals, especially from nitrites, that have been banned. So it shouldn't be used because they are carcinogenic. But some of these processors will still put it back. So do you care when you buy that snack when you buy that snack in a supermarket shelf, do you care to know which chemicals have been used, which food preservative have been used? Or we just pick and go? And the more time we keep using those things, the more we're exposing ourselves.
Okay.
Yes.
So that lies in the part of the chemical as
chemical.
one part of the risk factors or predisposing factor to cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that one also, how can someone get a lip cancer, and the throat?
Or throat cancer. Throat cancer is among the very common cancers.
Okay.
So what we have talked about, especially what we feed on, because with the throat, there are many things that come from our mouth through the throat. It can be at a very high risk of getting cancer, especially if you have been exposed to either of what we have talked about.
Okay.
Yeah. And also genetic issues, hereditary. We take a history from patients that we see here in the clinic. They also tell you, my grandfather had the same issue, or my aunt was buried with the same issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, why should someone get screened for cancer?
Getting screened for cancer is very important.
Okay.
One, because it will direct the doctor or whoever is handling the patient on the management. And also it prevents complications. It also helps and guides the medical practitioner on which investigations to do further on this patient.
Okay.
And also it's very important because the earlier the patient or the client is screened, the better
Okay.
for the prognosis. Yeah.
All right. And we've talked about the food that people should eat. In the case of cancer, is fish oil important in their diet? How is this fish oil important?
Well, not just fish oil, but a whole class of essential oils.
Okay.
These essential oils, they are very important. Like for a cancer patient who is undergoing treatment, they have issues with the skin. On treatment, their skin gets so dry, it gets flaky, it gets itchy. So because it eliminates the oil that is supposed to be under the skin. So this eating food that has essential oils will help replenish the skin, the oil under the skin, that will help the skin to be able to heal so that they get back to normal.
Okay.
Or additionally, you can have a cancer patient who is a child. Their brain tissue is still developing. So without the essential oils, their brain tissue will not develop fully or well. You could have a cancer patient who is pregnant, so the fetus requires the oils. So remember, the cancer cells are fighting for the same essential oils, they are fighting for the proteins. So when you keep giving plenty the diet, some may remain for the fetus and for the mother's skin. So the essential oils, not just fish oils, even oil in avocado is very good.
It's very
so
good.
we don't just say fish, because some people don't eat fish. Some types of fish. They can have it from some of the nuts. The nuts, they have the essential oils. So if you're not a fish eater, you can use there are options, there are alternatives you can use. Be eating your avocados, you can be eating your groundnuts, you can eat the other nuts, macadamia and the rest.
Okay.
Yes.
She have mentioned something about a child being affected. So this is true that a child can also get cancer?
Yeah, cancer does not choose the old or the young. It cuts across.
All right.
Even
Cancer
children get
cuts across.
Yeah.
Okay. And is cancer contagious?
Cancer is not contagious.
Okay.
Maybe if you talk about the inheritance part, it's just the abnormal cells. They can be inherited from within the family. Yeah.
Okay. So it can be inherited
But
from
it is
one.
not contagious like HIV or.
All right. All right. And say that someone we should eat well. Well, what is this that are we? What is this kind of foods that we're supposed to eat? The carbohydrates, the vitamins, all sorts of those foods.
Yeah, eating well means a balanced diet.
Okay.
And a balanced diet means you have carbohydrates, you have proteins, you have vitamins and minerals, and you also take plenty of water. So, and I also insisted on variety. So in the protein family, for cancer patients, because their needs for proteins are very high, we prefer that most of their protein portion comes from the first class proteins, the animal sourced proteins. So they can be having meat, they can have eggs, they have fish, they have milk. Those are first class proteins, so that they be able to replenish their worn out cells very fast. And remember, they are competing with the cancer cells that are growing in the system.
Okay.
So in the carbohydrate family, we have quite a number. They can pick from any, but we would encourage them to eat whole. Whole meaning the natural, because the processed, the refined ones have limited nutrients. Every time you are refining, there are components you are removing. So we encourage them to take the natural. Our cereals, plenty of them, the tubers, legumes, variety, vegetables, I said colors. We have the red ones, we have the yellow ones, we have the light green, we have the dark green. It shouldn't be just one variety. Fruits, all of them, including if you can have a wild one. As long as it's safe, eat.
Okay, and there's families outside here, they're living in a very, they're not that capable of getting all those, the carbohydrates, the vitamins, and all those minerals at once. So how can these people survive and they go to cancer?
I said in the first place, wherever you are living, we encourage kitchen gardening. Okay. You could have a sack garden. Then you have tomatoes there, they are red. You have a few carrots, they are orange. Then you have, you see you're adding colors. You have a few stems of sukuma wiki. So you can have your minerals and a few vitamins already from your sack garden. Then you top up with what you can get from the market. Right. Yes. Yeah. And if you are in a position also to keep some small animals, I think if you have 2 chicken, you have eggs. Yeah. Then you have added variety. Yes.
So we encourage these patients, they feed on what is really available for them. Right. You know, sometimes you find these cancer patients, they've really used so much resources because of that treatment that they cannot even afford a meal. It is also one of the challenges we go through here. That is why we have to work in collaboration with the nutritionist to see how we can advise them on the diet they can take. Also, these cancer patients, they get exhausted, fatigued, tired because of that cancer that is taking the cells, the energy of the body, plus the competition of the body itself. So you find they get just tired out of no place. So we encourage them. The way she has said, the availability of what she has. Maybe wako na kuku mbili, you can use that. Wako na sukuma kiasi,
you can use
that. Okay. Yeah, we don't like subjecting them to things they cannot be able to afford. Yeah.
So cancer is one of the most, let me say, it's one of the most expensive disease. Do we have supportive groups or supportive people that support these cancer patients?
Yeah, we have got supportive groups of which we form ourselves because we look for those patients who have the cancer or the survivors, put them together to share the challenges they go through when they are having this problem or they have gone through. How they can support each other, give education to one another. Then we have also been working last with the empathy also, so that They help us form this support group, and when they come and they talk to them, they can also support the clients as they do the follow-up, and also we do the follow-up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think lastly on the issue of the diet, what I said is general, but sometimes we have these cancer secondary to another condition. So we have to manage the patient based on the condition that they have secondary to cancer. So it may not be general for everybody. It should be individualized based on your economic status, what you can afford, what you have at home, what is this other condition that you have. So that is why it is important to have them have individualized prescription. It is not just general. What I had said earlier is just general, but when a client comes, we make it specific based on their health status at that point. Yes.
And also the age.
The age.
Yeah.
Okay.
You may find some cancers, they are common in the elderly. For example, you find the prostate cancer, and the cancer of the esophageal, especially in the elderly people. How their bodies will respond to the treatment and the diet part of it, and generally the health of the client may differ from patient to patient. And with the health of the patient, the age, plus the other underlying conditions. Because you may find the patient has got cancer of the breast, at the same time she's hypertensive, at the same time she has diabetes. You see that you cannot handle her like the one who has maybe cancer.
The cancer and the hepatitis.
Yeah. So you see now it's different.
It's
the way you will
different.
counsel and help this client is different from the one, and maybe this lady is in her 50s or 40s, and the other one comes, maybe she's in 20s and with the cancer of the breast. So you see, it varies.
It varies.
Yeah,
Okay.
it varies.
Oh, maybe you tell us the stages of cancer. Cancer move from one stage to another.
Okay. Cancer, once the investigations have been done, and especially the histology, that's when they do the staging. The histology means that they take a small part of the flesh where the area is affected, yes, and they go to do the staging. So it will come out whether it is in stage 1, stage 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And they can even divide it into 1 AB,
Okay.
2 AB, 3 AB, like for the cervical cancers. If the client comes to you at stage 0 or 1, it is easier for us to manage at that stage, or stage 2, because it has not metastasized to other organs of the body. But if a client comes when she's in stage 4, whereby the cancer has affected the surrounding areas, for example, the cancer of the cervix, it has affected the kidneys, it has gone to the bladder, it has gone to the rectum, then the management is quite different. So the management of cancer varies from the type of cancer, where it is also located, the age factor, and at what stage. Yes. For example, patients who comes with cancer at an early stage, when we are doing the cervical cancer screening, we are able to handle that client well if she follows the treatment and adheres to what she's being told, than the one who has been at home but comes in the 4th stage.
Okay.
It's quite different.
So talking about the stages, what is this stage 1? Like you've got cancer today and that is now stage 1, or what do you mean by stage 1, stage 2?
Okay, in stage 1, for example, for cervical cancer, it is just confined around the cervix. It has not spread far.
Okay.
Another organ maybe above the uterus. Other parts are affected.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how
is
they
how
will
now
stage.
okay.
how other parts are affected. Is it really confined there, or it has moved to other parts? For example, a patient who comes with the prostate cancer, maybe stage 1, you find that it is confined to the prostate gland, maybe just with like a surrounding part kidogo. But if a client comes with the prostate cancer stage 4, you may find that maybe it has metastasized to the liver and to the bones. It has moved from the original part to other parts of the body, other organs also. Yeah.
So that is now stage 4.
So it determines the management, because like the stage 1, that they may decide to do surgery, then put the patient on chemo and radio. But if a patient comes in stage 4, it has gone to the liver and the bones, then we do the palliative care.
Okay.
Depending on the findings of the histology.
Okay, that's it's now advisable to go
It is
for
advanced
screening.
now. It is very advisable. That's why in management, we divide the management of cancer. We have got the primary management. In the primary management, that is where we do advocacy, like what we are doing now. People to learn and understand about cancer.
Okay.
Those who don't know about cancer, we give education and information. We have to go deep into the community.
And teach them.
Teach them.
Great awareness.
You go into schools, churches, to create that awareness. They should know what is cancer, what is about
But
cancer.
most people outside the community take that this cancer is something that you have been bewitched or something like that.
Misconceptions are there.
Okay.
So when we go to give them that information and education, now they become aware of what is cancer. Then we teach them on self-examination, especially like self-breast examination, how they can examine their breasts. And we teach them about, if it is cervical, we teach them about what are the causes of cervical cancers. For example, when we said it could be a sexual transmitted infection. You ask them, for example, when did you have your first sex? At what age? Some tell you at 12 years, some at 10, some at 14. Is that really cervix mature enough at that age?
Okay.
So if that child engages in sex and with the person maybe who can infect her with the HPV, so it is deposited at the cervix, of which it will stay there maybe for 10, 12 years. So by the time she's around 25, 26 years, and she has heard about cervical cancer screening, she comes. So when we screen that cervix, then we look at the cervix, we say, okay, this one is a candidate of cervical cancer. Then we start the management. So when you are taking the history, she will tell you, I started my sex at a very early age. I was only 12, 13 years. And I was going about with my partner who had multiple sexual partners. So you see,
early sex debut means you have a high chance of having so many partners in your lifetime. Because at 10, surely, then by the time they get married, how many? Then at marriage, you never know what happens. So the earlier the sexual debut, the high risk of getting HPV, because there's a high likelihood of having so many partners.
Okay.
Yes.
and getting other infections related to STI. So many of them, the gonorrheas, the syphilis, all those infections that you can think of related to STIs. And you know they are targeted in that reproductive area. So giving reproductive health education, especially to these young people, and even the community as a whole, because you find that in the African context, we fear talking about sex with our children. That is another hindrance. It is sacred, you don't talk about it, so the child grows to explore, and the child is taught by the peer pressure Like now we have got so many children in school who are at home who are already pregnant. Some, they don't know about sex. It was just exploration, being told you were now hii miaka yako una. So unajua, that's how we get those infections. So advocacy at the community level is very important, generally. Yes.
Maybe you tell us the signs of cancer. Do cancer have its specific sign? Like when you see this, I know this is cancer.
Okay, cancer differs, and it depends where it has affected you.
Okay.
For example, there are so many signs, but I'll talk generally. For example, if you get a swelling or a lump in your body, which is not normal, any part of your body develops some lumps or swellings which are not normal, and they can even change the shape of your body.
Okay.
For example, breast cancer. The breasts of a woman are very soft. You can palpate, they are good. But when you are palpating, especially if the client has been taught, then she finds that there is something like a stone inside moving, or a lump. It is not normal.
It's not normal.
Yeah. Anything abnormal.
Even men should palpate,
Yeah.
because there have been cases of men having breast cancer.
Yes, men also get breast cancers.
Okay, me I thought breast cancer is for women.
No. Men get breast cancers the way women get cancer of the esophagus, also men get.
Okay.
It's only cancer of the cervix because they don't have a cervix. So, any abnormal growth in the body. 2, change in the color of the skin. It can be reddening. It can change color that is not normal. There could be some itching, irritation, anywhere of any part of your body.
It's
bleeding, unexplained bleeding with no cause, or discharge. Bleeding like cancer of the cervix. It starts with some discharges, some are offensive. Sometimes we just ignore, but any discharge, not only from the cervix, even from your ear, even from your eye or your nose.
okay.
Then we have got also change in the voice, hoarseness of voice. You have been just talking normally, Jacinta. Then you start talking as a pastor who has ameenda kesha overnight. The voice is a change kabisa.
Okay.
Then also the other thing, when somebody goes to the toilet for a long call, sometimes it choo ni ngumu, constipated, or diarrhea, or there is a blood in that stool, or mucus, or, and in the African context, tuko na choo ya shimo. So we rarely look at our stool. We don't. And so nobody will know there was blood in the stool, and that is the cancers of the rectal cancers, the colorectal areas, yote. So that blood, even in urine, there's retention of urine.
Even in the village, like if somebody was using toilet paper, they would maybe notice maybe some blood.
Yeah.
But what about, like in the villages, some people use leaves, others don't. I've been in a place where they use like a stone. So how do you know? How do you know there was blood on sand? How do you know there was blood if you're using a stone?
Yeah.
So
And some don't look at, after wiping with a tissue, they don't look. We don't look at really at that. And also, when passing urine, there's retention of urine, which is not a good sign. Or when that urine is bloody, or there's a lot of pus, it is not normal. Then when it comes also to cancers of the inside the abdomen, there's unexplained abdominal pains.
Okay.
Yeah. You find things like cancers of the lungs, maybe tumors in the brain. We only go for treatment when somebody has gone blind.
Okay.
So that is just a few of the signs.
Signs of the cancer. Okay. As we wind up, does the government, which strategies the government has put in place so far in the health sector, especially for cancer?
Yes, the government has put in place so many cancer centers which are equipped with staff and the equipment that are needed, and also it spends money in training. NHIF has a cover for cancer patients,
Okay.
and there's a lot of advocacy that goes on.
Alright.
So government is doing a lot to support our patients.
Okay, okay.
So she has talked of that, and that is very good. And also we advocate that at least every county to have a cancer center.
Okay.
Like our county, we don't have.
We don't have.
We don't have really.
Transia, we don't have.
We have to refer patients to Eldoret, to Nairobi. Some.
And again, they don't have money to fund the referral. So you just look at a patient suffer, and some of them have died in our wards.
Yeah.
Just looking at them.
Some they opt to go for traditional medicine, which is very common. You find that a patient has come with the cancer of the breast. The other one is also getting infected. Signs and symptoms related to cancer of the breast. You ask her, she tells you, I didn't have enough money to go to Eldoret, but I was able to get to a traditional healer who is around my area. You see?
Yeah.
The other thing is that we need more trained staffs, especially in oncology, in related areas about cancers, the doctors, nurses, to be trained in that line.
Okay.
We also need a lot of advocacy, especially on the ground. Tertiary hospitals like health centers, level 2, level 3, to do a lot of screening.
Okay.
So that patients get treatment on time and early detection can be done. And we encourage the public, each one to take responsibility of her health, not to wait the government to push or the medical staff to come and push. Take care of yourself. If you see anything abnormal, just seek medical advice.
Okay.
If there are talks on health, listen. Whether they are given at the funerals, at the chief's barasas, or even in the hospital, anywhere, even in the public, in the roads, there are road signs, anything, take care of your own responsibility of your health, because nobody will come and take care of it.
Does the religion have a role to play?
Yes, religion has a role to play. Like for those with cancer, it's a very emotional issue, and based on the religion you belong to, the members of that become your first support group.
Okay.
And the faith in your deity will give you hope. If somebody said, like, I felt so bad and I prayed and I felt that God asked me for more years, or whatever deity, whatever religion you are in, it is very important because it enhances your peace. Because most of our patients suffer because of the emotional issue, lack of hope, feeling like this is the end of me. But with the support group and faith in your deity, knowing that your life belongs to your deity, you can be able to bargain. And that is an assurance. And at the same time, the church becomes, or whatever religion, the members become your first support. So
When we get with these patients, that some, they forget about the treatment they have been given because they put all their faith in the line of spirituality, forgetting the doctor's line. So that's the challenge we have. But we advise that spirituality and faith is very important. Coupled up with the treatment of the doctor, then we get positive results.
And cancer patients, how does the effects of COVID-19 and cancer, how does that affect the patient?
Yeah, you see cancer patients, they are weak already. Their immunity system is low. So with the COVID, if they get exposed, it can have a bad impact on them. So we usually give them health education. We talk to the family and the carers on how to social distancing, sanitize, take care of the patient so that they are not really exposed to that COVID. Yeah.
You want to add something on COVID?
Basically, we pray that it doesn't get near them, because that will be like it can take their life, which is bad. Because just as the other comorbidities that you've been listening to media everywhere, that those who have other conditions, they are so much at risk, but the people who are healthy, they can move on with COVID and be able to do the end well with no viruses. But this one, it's a high risk case. Yes.
Okay, that's why we have to do some home visits, because we limit the movements. To ensure they have enough treatment.
Okay. As we wind up, can cancer be cured completely?
Yes, cancer can be cured completely, as you had me say earlier. If there's early screening and detected on time, it can be treated.
It can be treated.
Yes, it is not a death sentence that you have cancer to be done.
Okay.
Even if it is found in other stages, still the patient can be supported very well. Even in the tertiary stage, we give the palliative care, whereby we aim at helping that client, patient to have quality life.
Right.
It is the care even to the carers of the patient with life-limiting illnesses.
Alright. So guys, that is what we had for today. I've been privileged to host a nutritionist and also a nurse, all talking about cancer. So you can still keep the conversation going on our social media platforms, that is on Facebook, Instagram, and also on Twitter at Titi Trend on TV Show. But don't forget to subscribe and like our YouTube page at Titi Trend on TV Show. I've been your host, Jacinta Adhiambo. See you next time. Bye bye.